Good morning. I'd like to call the Special Highway and Building Committee meeting. Sorry. I'd like to call the Special Highway and Building Committee meeting of Wednesday, June 19th, 2022 to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Dennell? Mr. Hess? Mr. Tholen? Ms. Weber? Present. Mr. Featherling? Present. Mr. Long? Present. Mr. Hunter? Present. Ms. Bryan? Mr. Collins? Ms. Hudson? Present. Mr. Smith? Present. Mr. Alexander Hildebrand? Mr. Gowler? Mr. Raymond? Present. Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Steroy? Present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'm going to need a motion to allow Mr. Wheeler to join the meeting. Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Weber. Everybody in favor signify by say aye. Aye. Welcome, Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you.
Before we get started here, I just wanted to say that this special meeting is just for us to listen to the presentation and maybe ask questions. If the intent is not to modify anything, is just make some questions, maybe listen to the presentation, and then have a motion to approve this. So, is there any public comments? Do we have any public comments? No public comments. So next on the agenda will be the presentation done by White and Corporation. Please, sir, take a seat there.
Do I need to turn the mic on, or?
It is on.
Oh, perfect. Good morning, everyone. Jason Dwyer with White & Company, here to give you an overview of how things are going with the conceptual design for the animal control facility. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So I know this is the less exciting stuff, a lot of spreadsheets and data, but we start out every project kind of working through with the users in terms of the details of the needs of the space. So we've spent a lot of time kind of fine-tuning the details here, breaking it down into different categories for dog areas, office space, cat areas, all the elements that need to come together to make up a full space for the building. So we had several meetings on that May, early June timeframe, really focused on trying to fine-tune the needs of the space to make sure that we've covered everything that's necessary for a proper operating animal control facility. Of course, these always start out where we're thinking big picture in terms of wants and desires and all that, and then trying to fine-tune the best we can to make sure that we're planning for a space that's really to meet the functional needs of the project. So the outcome of that, we were targeting around 8,500 square feet for the facility total. So then what happens is, actually we can skip ahead maybe 2 slides. We start to then develop that into a diagram of how the building can be planned and organized together. So what you see on the screen here now is a conceptual site plan. So I think many of the group know here that we're looking at a site that's got an existing building on it. The existing building is about 3,500 square feet total, so it doesn't quite on its own meet all the needs of the project, but we're looking to reuse and modify slightly the existing building and then do an addition to that to accommodate the other needs. So in the black there you can see there's existing parking, about 15 parking spaces with a main drive coming into the property. And then the existing building is highlighted there like a lighter gray outline. I'll show you a floor plan that's got a little more detail in a moment here. What we're adding on to that is a primary addition to deal with a lot of the animal housing components. So the dog runs, cat runs, some of the supportive spaces and operational areas within the building. You can see on the plan there's a couple white boxes around the perimeter of the building. That accounts for some indoor-outdoor dog runs so that there's abilities for the dogs to have some time inside, some time outside. So we've got some space around that. And then there's a gray box kind of on the left side of the existing building. That's planned for animal transfer area, kind of like a garage, if you will, so they can pull a vehicle inside, do a transfer of an animal into the building, so you don't have a situation where, as you're trying to take an animal out of a vehicle, it gets loose and runs off. Also in that space, we're accommodating some of the other supportive functions, storage. Always a lot of storage needs in facilities like this, and then a couple other elements, a water room, electrical, some of the additional mechanical spaces for the building. Then kind of in the upper part of the plan, there's a couple green boxes there. We're showing some outdoor exercise yards for the animals, or, you know, there's ability for some interaction with animals there too. So what's nice about the site is it provides a good amount of area to accommodate all the functions that are necessary here. We are doing a little bit of expansion of parking on the property too. There's 15 parking spaces. That'll be used predominantly by the public. We're looking to have a separated staff parking area kind of as you enter into the garage space, so that staff can, you know, pull behind a gate and park. Sometimes it's a little obviously contentious with the operation, so I think to just have the ability to have some decent security at the property is a nice opportunity here. In the light gray in the foreground there along the road, we've had to accommodate stormwater detention, so meeting the ordinance requirements for stormwater detention. The existing property was, it does have stormwater detention, but not enough to accommodate the additional expansion impervious surface space. It was also designed before the ordinance had changed, so it has a much smaller stormwater retention component. But again, the property as it's planned, it's really two individual properties, one that's has the existing building on it and some additional property to the north, and then a vacant parcel to the northwest of that. So we're taking full advantage of all the property to accommodate the needs of the entire animal control operation. So that's the overview of kind of how the site plan lays out. Maybe we could go to the next slide. So just a little bit more detailed view of the building. Again, the light gray box is the existing building, 3,500 square feet of the existing building. And then the addition we're looking at up on the plan there, which predominantly has animal holding and sort of operational spaces, is about 4,100 square feet. And then the gray area with the garage and supportive spaces at about 1,100 square feet. So again, we're trying to keep, you know, make best use of the existing building that we can. So it was really set up as kind of office, sort of a light retail operation in the existing building. So we're accommodating a lot of the office functions in there. We do have some cat rooms. So in the orange are areas that are designated for cats. The green are designated for dogs. What we're able to do here is have a good amount of breakdown of the spaces. So you can see there's kind of a deeper green in the upper right corner. That would be dogs that maybe need to be separated for rabies observation. Sometimes there's sick animals, animals that have different things going on. When we're looking at cats, some cats are able to be in kind of a more open room. Some need to be in more of a separated or isolated room. So we have the ability now to create a number of different spaces to separate the animals based on what's going on with the specific situation. And then the pink spaces, that's a lot of supportive spaces, food storage, prep, some veterinary space, lab space, that kind of thing for rabies investigation and so forth. And then, as I said, in the gray there, we've got a lot of the storage spaces, vehicle garage space, and some of the mechanicals on the space. So the good news is the existing building is in pretty good shape. It's got relatively new mechanical systems. We'll have to make a couple modifications to that based on the specifics of this operation, but building's got good bones, so we're able to make good use of what we have already, and then we can sort of custom build the expansion of the building as needed to meet the needs of the animal control. So that I think covers it. The blue, that's more office components. So we've got a couple offices and then some workstation space for animal control folks. And then we're trying to, you know, be as efficient and concise as we can with the design. The conference room is going to serve double duty for conference, training, break room. You know, we just, you know, it's difficult to have all individual spaces, and frankly, based on the operating uses, we've got good opportunity to do sharing of spaces within the building.
That brings up, I know I'm interrupting your presentation.
Excuse me, hold on a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was going to be my question. I don't see a break room in here, and why can't that stuff, those uses be segregated into different locations? And if you have something going on, you know, that may interfere with the lunch breaks for the staff, et cetera. You're saying it's going to be duplicitous in terms of conference room, break room, and what else?
Training, if there's a need to do some training as well.
You may want to revisit, I don't know, you may want to revisit this.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking with Carrie and her staff to try to determine what works best operationally. We started with some options for having individual spaces for that, but the frequency of use is, I think, just not is intense that we need to have all individual spaces. I mean, it's a pretty common.
Well, by virtue of the fact that you're building a new facility, and hopefully it'll be the same color as the existing building, or maybe you'll make a change. And I had another concern, and I don't mean to stop your presentation. I see you have the staff parking, and you got 15 spots, you know, for the public. What if you have staff meetings, community meetings, tours, you know, for, you know, school kids checking out? You know, you're talking about the use of the facility. There's going to be a magnet. School kids, teachers are going to want to bring their kids out there and do tours. So I'm not sure if this is enough parking. I really don't. I mean, this is going to be a new facility. It's going to serve as a magnet for the public, and you may want to, you know, revisit this and maybe enhance the parking acreage you got there.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've had, pretty good discussions about parking so far. I mean, I think if there's a...
So does my thoughts and comments fall on deaf ears?
No.
You've had a discussion on it before. Let me say this to you. If you got a couple schools coming there with buses, and you got all these kids, maybe the parents with chaperones and stuff, you know, who bring their own vehicles, is that going to accommodate, you're going to be able to accommodate that with 15 parking spaces? With buses and stuff?
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to accommodate full-size buses parking there in this layout. I mean, we'd have to have a much larger turnaround space.
Don't you think there would be kids coming there? I mean, schools coming there? And I'll shut up after this.
Yeah, I think in a scenario like that, maybe a situation where we look at doing a drop-off. If it's a bus setup, we could do a drop-off. You know, and still be able to accommodate a group of people coming in at a time, because especially if they're coming by bus, we could do a drop-off scenario versus, you know, versus having to park a bus on site.
Mr. Hunter, the sheriff has a comment.
Yeah, I can tell you, and I appreciate the obviously the interest in people wanting to see animal control. I know that since we have taken over, and I don't believe anything before that there have been tours out there. Most of these animals are not adoptable. There are some that are, but even in our current parking lot, we don't have areas for large parking, large groups. Not to say that wouldn't happen, but if that were to happen by chance after we get in there, obviously there are some areas on the road where you could accommodate a bus on Mooney Drive, which is the location. But personally, I don't see a whole lot of tours, etc., going into animal control.
Let's see. Okay, Mr. Lear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would want to echo the sheriff's view that not only is there some places on Mooney Drive that some parking could take place on those occasions where you have visits, but I think that there's some nearby parking that the businesses nearby would probably be willing to accommodate on those occasions where you had that special. I know right really behind this building there's a series of offices, and really between those offices and this building is parking. So there are some other places that parking could take when you had larger crowds.
Business after hours?
Mr. Seroy, do you still have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was looking at the parking lot, and I don't know anybody in this room, but I could turn a bus around in that parking lot. So, but it you know, and to Mr. Hunter's point, I understand that we want this to be an attraction. It's going to be an attraction for the public. I'm not sure if it's going to be a toured location, just because there's going to be sick animals in there, and it's not all puppies and kittens. So this is a great facility. I like the layout. I like the plan. I appreciate Wright and Company talking to the director and the sheriff and getting all the details laid out. And I like the way it looks. I look forward to breaking ground on this project. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Do you have any more?
Yeah, I have one more slide. So I think those that are familiar with the building, it's a pretty simple rectangular masonry, painted masonry building, and you know we're looking to upgrade the entry a little bit just to give it a presence so people understand and identify it as the animal control facility. But you know we're not looking at an opulent exterior. We want to spend the money on this facility to have a really nicely functioning interior. Focus on things like good ventilation, a good ability to maintain and clean down the space, drainage. So we've had a lot of discussions so far, and again, we're at a concept design stage right now, so there's a lot more design work yet to be done. But you know, we feel, just kind of knowing the existing facility and some of the challenges there, that the best way to focus the county's dollars on this is on having a really easy to operate, easy to maintain facility that meets as many of the needs as we possibly can within the parameters of a budget. And you know, there's a pretty simple architectural expression of the exterior right now, and we're looking to just continue with that. So it'll have concrete masonry for the predominance of the structure. That's for the inside, for durability and washability. Right now, I mean, we're still exploring a little bit options for the exterior. You know, the building now has to meet different energy codes than the original building did. So what we're looking at right now is potentially a stucco exterior for the addition part of the building, but that's something we're going to continue to revisit as the design progresses. Again, the focus being trying to keep it a pretty simple, straightforward building that focuses the energy and the investment on a well, you know, properly operating interior. So that is it for what I have right now, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Mr. Hunter?
Second opportunity to speak, and I can appreciate the comments that Vice Chairman has made regarding turning the bus around there. You guys were talking about drop-off locations in January 2013, 25 below zero. I'm just saying, because I'm sure at some point, Sheriff, Chairman, that, and the presenter, that there's going to be tours. Again, I'm being redundant, and I'm sure that may be an attraction for our kids. You know, we're old men saying this and that and so forth, but and maybe a novel, a unique opportunity for our kids, our grandkids, you know, to take a look at this facility. I would think the county would want to market, you know, our efforts in terms of what we're doing, you know, for dogs, cats, and the like. So I'm just saying also, you have business after hours, 15 spots. Is that going to accommodate the people who want to take a look at it? So if one person per car comes, I mean, you're only going to have 15 people at a business after hours at this facility. I would think that, you know, the county or animal control would want to do a business after hours. And you're going to have staff there, and you're going to have people coming to take a look at, see what the county has done. So I'm just saying that you may want to revisit the parking, and you said you're in the business of dealing with the concept stage right now. All I'm saying is that add some more. My other concerns about the staff in terms of a secular or segregated break room for them. So then, you know, because of the training you were saying, another uses and so forth for that one room, find a spot for the staff to have some time to decompress and read a book on their break. So anyway, that's all I'm saying, and I think my comments have merit.
Ms. Parker?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Respectfully, Mr. Hunter, children are very curious, and when they would walk through to see an animal, 9 times out of 10, they would put their little paws in there trying to pet that animal. Animals have different behaviors when they're under stress. The last thing that I would want to see is a dog or a cat harming a child. And trust me, I have been around animals enough to know even the tamest cat under stress can scratch. And I don't believe that we want to have that happen at animal control. And I really believe the setup that we have here is functional for what the intent is, to house animals. Yes, an open house would be nice, but that would be under probably strict conditions. We have to protect not only the animals, but we also have to make sure that no one is harmed, because I'm curious, and the first thing I want to do is pet the animal, and I know that they can change in a minute and bite. Thank you.
Any other question or comment for Jason? You're gonna be 12, I believe. 10? Okay.
Morning, Jason. I had a couple questions about the exterior construction, but it hasn't been established yet, whether we're going with, brick block and, steel truss roofs or steel bar joist roofs with flat roof with PVC. Do you have all that established yet?
Some preliminary items on that, yeah. So what we're looking at is perimeter CMU load bearing, so that we can, we want something that's durable on the inside face. So we're looking at like an 8-inch concrete block. Okay. We're going to look to use that as load bearing, so we're not adding redundancy of structure around the perimeter. Most likely, the existing building has a wood truss roof system. Okay. I think in this case, we're looking at steel bar joists and metal deck. The existing building has a flat roof and it drains toward the back. So what we're looking at is pitching it so that the roofs drain together. It'll have interior roof drains. Right now there's a gutter system on the back, but if we continue that slope, I think we'd start having issues of vertical clearance inside the space. So we're gonna try to maximize that by sloping the new together. We'll put a couple interior roof drains in there. It's already existing membrane roof. I'm not sure if it's an EPDM or a PVC, but it's a membrane roof. So we'll match the membrane on that and marry the two roofs up together, and so it'll have kind of a continuous even perimeter to the building, and with interior roof drains. Okay. So then on the outside of it, we did look at the potential for doing like a brick masonry or something on the outside face where we'd have a cavity wall with insulation. We have to have continuous insulation for energy code. That can be pretty expensive to do that, so we're going to kind of keep evaluating that against budget parameters. But one option is to do exterior insulation finish system, so you've got a stucco finish on the outside that's got the insulation as part of that system. So that's one of the options that we're exploring, so that we get the durability on the inside that we need with a little bit less cost on the outside and meet the energy requirements.
It's not an area where people are riding their bicycles by and crashing into it, making marks on it and stuff.
Yeah,
so it'd be hold up just fine.
Yeah, it's separated off toward the back. In terms of the indoor-outdoor runs, we'll want to take a close look at that, where the dogs can get to it to make sure that that's durable and so forth. But yeah, the other parts of the building are not going to be regularly accessed by anybody that could be trying to punch a hole in the wall or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so this just preliminary stuff then.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Okay, on the new business, we're gonna need a motion and a second. Mr. Donnell made a motion. Do the second. Okay. Ms. Weber, and that is to approve the new animal control facility in Bourbonnais to be sent to the Finance Committee. That is going to be right after we finish here this morning. So what
Question on the motion.
Yes, sir.
It's been moved and seconded, right?
I'm sorry?
It's been moved and seconded?
Yes.
Okay. All I'm saying is that, Jason, I'd like for you to, take this back to your people and maybe revisit some of the comments that have been made. Maybe you can tweak it. I don't have a problem with the facility. I've been on board and voted consistently for this particular expansion and purchase and all that stuff. So just letting you know, I'm voting for the facility, not the specificity, all the specificities that he has provided. So just letting you guys know up front what I'm doing.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we got a motion on the second, and I'm gonna ask for a roll call, please.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell? Mr. Hess? Ms. Weber? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Sorry, Mr. Hunter? Ms. Hudson? Mr. Smith? Mr. Alexander? Mr. Raymond? Mr. Searoy? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Sheriff?
Yeah, just to address Mr. Hunter's issue, we are working closely with Jason, and we will make sure that we address this issue and bring back a resolution that will be sufficient to everybody.
I'm sure. Yeah, the confidence want to show this facility off. You know, where the people going to park? They're coming from miles away, the region. That's all I'm saying. Look
Yep.
for the future, guys.
We will definitely explore it.
Thank you. All right, is any other business? Any other business? I need a motion to adjourn. Okay, I'm gonna go with Ms. Hudson and Ms. Smith, this Featherland, the second there, was not Smith, it was Featherland then this time. Everybody in favor signify by say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, the same sign?